got a chance to go do some fishing today. So I'm here on one of the little local lakes pretty close to my house. Um, and this is kind of what I call my experimental lake or my practice lake. My home lake, Lake Seminole, is about 2.5 hours away. So this is nice for me to have a place to come where I can try lures, test out stuff on the boat. It's a real good representation of what I fish on my home lake at Lake Seminole. It's just a lot closer. Um, Probably not ideal conditions day to go fishing, but you don't always get to pick your day, so I like to come practice on days like this. When I left the house this morning, it was 40 degrees. This is a shallow lake. It's got a deep channel that's about 6, 7 foot that runs through the middle of it. But again, it's a good representation of what I'll face when I go to my lake and fish a tournament. So I like to come and practice on days like this. So what I'm thinking today is it's February 20th. The fish have already spawned out probably on the last full moon around the end of January. There's another wave that want to come up on the next full moon. So these fish are wanting to come up and spawn. I actually caught some off the bed up here about a week ago. But I don't anticipate on finding them in bed today, depending on what the water temperatures are, which I haven't even looked at yet. But what we're going to do today is this is a lake that's got grass in it. The grass is obviously pulled back due to the water temperatures. But what we're going to do today is we're going to throw a rattle trap. Something I do a lot on Lake Seminole. A lot of guys do on Lake Seminole, catch really good bags of fish on there. So we're going to throw a rattle trap, try to get a reaction bite going. The water for this lake, what I'm seeing right now, is a little more stained than usual. This is an extremely clear water lake. It's like fishing in a bathtub. You can see all the way down. You can see every bit of structure of a piece of grass. We've had some rain the last few days, so it's got a little bit of a stain to it. There is a little feeder creek on the top end of it that feeds from another lake. But we're going to throw a rattle track, look for a reaction bite using a high-speed 7-1 reel, ripping that thing across the top of the water and just looking for a reaction bite. One thing I want to show you, I got picked up by a company that's really come out with an innovative new hook style, if you will. It's called Easy to Hook. You can find them at Easy to Hook USA, EASY, the number 2, HOOK USA. Google it, look it up. I think the website's actually Outdoor Specialties. But this is what I have on all my crankbaits and all my rattle traps. As you can see, this is a small little, this is their lure adapter. So as you can see, it's onto the snap swivel, or onto the swivel, the snap ring of the rattle trap. And the cool thing about this is I'm not going to tie a knot in this. All you do is you take your line. If you can see, there's a small little ball on the shank of this adapter. So what you do is you take your line, wrap it behind the ball twice, and then just wrap it up the shank of that adapter as many times you can. Then when it comes out the top, now my lure is secured onto that shank with no knot. What you get out of this is, number one, you get 100% line strength. There's no knot to break. You don't have to worry about trying to get a polymer knot over top of all the hooks. It works great for jerkbait, works great for crankbaits. But the cool thing I like about it is, not only is it 100% line strength, but the action you get on your baits. There's nothing to keep it. It rotates on that swivel. You get great action. I love this on my deep diving crankbaits. You get a tremendous amount of more action than you would if you tie just a regular knot right to the snap swivel. So check them out on easytohook.com. Very inexpensive. I've got them on all my crankbaits, all my rattle traps, anything that I have to tie a knot onto. I even put them on my jigs. Gives your jigs a great falling action. But we're going to get out here and see if we can catch some fish on our rattle trap. Primary colors I'm using, this is my typical good one I use here on this lake. It's a clear water representation of the bait fish in here. But with the water being a little more stained, we may go to a red, or maybe something with a little bit of white chartreuse in it. So let's go. You know, one of the things you hear a lot of guys talk about bass fish is being efficient. And I'm just sitting there thinking, you know, that's really what this braid on this heavy action rod, with a fast tip on it. I mean, it's not a broomstick, but it's got some backbone to it. It's got a fast tip on it. But what it lets me do is, I get my crankbait out there, and you can feel it. You can feel it rattle. You can feel it vibrate. And when that thing starts vibrating, that means it's clogged up with grass. What this heavy rod and the braid lets me do is I can just pop it, and that grass will come off of it, and I'm getting the fish that lure in the whole retreat. Whereas if I had a medium action rod and I could shake it loose, as soon as it gets grass on it, I'm reeled it in. It's a dead bait. Big fish. Barely twisted. Big fish. That's a little more like it. The fish came up and just slapped it. When he slapped it, I killed it. He came back and ate it. He still didn't get it real good, but it's a good fish. Nice. I'm fishing this rattle trap, this red one. I got it on braid, and there's a lot of stumps in here. You can feel the rattle trap that smack those stumps. So you always want to make sure you're checking your hooks. One of my hooks was bent out just a little bit. Make sure they're sharp. Make sure they're where they're supposed to be. You'll catch fish like that. So I caught another one. I didn't get it on film, but kind of what I did was the fish were kind of just slapping at that rattle trap, and I couldn't slow it down enough to keep it out of the grass from foul hooking it. So what I did was I went to a Excalibur XS100 square bill crankbait in the same color red I was getting bit on, and what that lets me do is get that fish back in the water. Good fish. I can crank it down to the grass and then stop my retrieve and it'll float up. So I'm up and off the grass, back on it. I can kind of pop it and give it some action. So we'll see if it turns on here. I can catch a few that keep rolling. I had 3 or 4 just roll up on that rattle trap. The thing is, there's a lot more beds in here than there was like 3 or 4 days ago. So, I mean, it was 71 degrees yesterday. It was 40 when I left this morning. It was 48 when I got here. It's warming up really quick. The sun's out and bright. So it should be turning these fish on, and as the water warms up. And the one I caught was definitely a post-spawn fish. So, you know, they're post-spawn, they're feeding up, the water's cooling, and it's warming. So it should make them bite a little bit. We can catch a few more. Hasn't spawned out yet, so it's good. Alright guys, that's going to about do it for today. Hopefully what I showed you today was introduce you to the easy to hook lure adapters. Like I said, I run on all my crankbaits, deep, medium, shallow. What we used today was a Excalibur XS100 in Rayburn red. Brown back, orange belly, red sides, with the lure adapter on it. Gives it great action. Fishing it in 2 to 3 foot of water with receding grass. The fish are just coming off the spawn, post-spawn fish. It's kind of intermixed, but we caught some good fish. The other thing I did today was threw a red rattle trap. This is a red-eye shad rattle trap. This is more of an orangish color with a brown back, on a 50-pound braid on a heavy action rod, ripping it out of that grass, getting it in the grass and ripping it out. Caught several fish on it today as well. Again, with the easy to hook lure adapter, as you can see, that thing is not coming off. You know, I was skeptical about the easy to hook deal before I got some from the easy to hook guys. I tried them, and now it's on all my crankbaits and my rattle traps. Pretty good day overall. We caught a bunch of fish. You know, it's cold. It's 40 degrees last night. It's warmed up. It's probably in the mid 50s now. Water temps up to 55 degrees. But these fish are, since they're post spawn and they're skinning it out, they're wanting to feed up and get the put some weight back on them from the spawn. And you've also got fish that are pre-spawn. So it's kind of that in-between phase. Next full moon, they'll be moving to the beds. Lots of beds. The fish are near the beds. We fished the creek channel. And everything coming up off the creek channel is where we caught most of our fish, on the outside edge, away from the bank on the creek channel. So hopefully I showed you guys something that you can use in your fishing. Get out. Time on the water is the most important thing. If you're lucky enough to live near the lake that you fish your tournaments on, get out on the lake and put the time in. This is a great lake for me to come and try new things and experiment and work on my fishing with all the different techniques and things and little subtleties. I guarantee you today, if I was on Seminole, I could replicate this pattern and catch fish. This is a huge confidence booster for me to be able to come here, put fish in the boat, and then when I take it to the big water on Lake Seminole, Lake Talcott, Lake Jackson, I can replicate these patterns. So I hope you enjoyed watching today. Check out my website at bradbullerfishing.com. Stay tuned into my YouTube channel for more tips. We got a bunch of tournaments coming up, so stay tuned, and we'll hopefully maybe win one or do well on one, and I can show you guys how I did it.